Hey, hey, hey. How you doing? My name's Mike. Welcome to the Sunday Night Chat. I do a little test where I set up these lights and whatnot, and then it's funny because on camera, and this is just me picking on myself with the receding hairline thing, I look so much balder than I actually am in real life. It kills me. Of course, the joke is now that the hairline's receding, I realize I look like a giant midget. I get that. I can make fun of myself for that. Somebody I did a video a couple days ago, the one that says frustration compelled me to put this out there. I spelled frustration on purpose because I hate when people misspell words like that. Some guy was on there and he said he couldn't take me seriously because of the hat. All right, whatever. Look, I am purposefully unprofessional, keeping it as real as it gets. I misspeak. I'm not right about everything. I'm all over the place, just to as a subliminal reminder to you that I am not professional, because those professional people scare me. Because when it's too polished and too phony, I don't know that I can trust it. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what you get. This is a shirt from the old Southern Gulf Station that is gone. The whole building's gone. Everything in my hometown in Seaside Park. And this was Johnny's shirt. Johnny and Paulie, the sons there, good guys. And I go through my closet every week, and I'm like, what shirt am I going to wear? And I decided to wear this one. So where do we start? There is a lot going on that I'm kind of aggravated about. So we're going to get to it. But before we get to that, and I piss off a bunch of people, and you automatically click off on the video, let's just talk about me first. Me, and what's going on here. Because I did another video the other day just pointing out how, because I have no actual work, I've got to get to work, meaning I need to start making stuff in the shop. For those of you who don't know, I design and build custom furniture, high-end built-ins, that sort of thing. I'm a good carpenter as well, but I work for myself, so I depend on people reaching out to me. I used to be affiliated with a thing online here called Nextdoor, and that was cool because people found me in the area. And I've been living in this area for over 30 years here in Los Angeles. And it's an affluent area, so it was good. I was always able to make pretty good money. But I've pulled away from that because while that is it's kind of smart to do that. In a way, it's smart to do like handyman work. I'm not a handyman. Everything I do is beyond average, right? I can't just, I mean, simple stuff. I just feel so weird sometimes about doing it. It is easy money. However, you need to be set up to do that. So you need to have a full kit of tools. You need like a work truck that's dedicated for that. So you have everything with you. So when you get there, you can do the stuff. And you're constantly having to sell yourself to a new person, and you're working around them. And this is Los Angeles, so you know the kind of people I'm dealing with for the most part, and it just becomes too much. So if I was addicted to money and wanting that, if that was my main, I would do that. I just don't like doing it. I would rather. I mean, so you can call me a snob, I suppose. I'd rather be in my shop building you a custom dining room table. That's what I'd rather be doing, or a dining room table, or an art piece, or an art chair, something like that. A cool custom art ladder to get into a loft. All these things I've done. By the way, there's an old adage or phrase, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Have tools, will travel. That's me. I've driven all over this country for projects, and I'm willing to do that. Man, I have met. Something comes to mind. First of all, I want to say thanks again to Robin and Patrick. You guys are getting mentioned all the time. These are the nicest people. This starting this YouTube channel, which was really just about trying to help people out with the Astrovan stuff, and then I realized that what I was saying was having a positive effect on people, and people come here because it's a place where they feel sane. They hear somebody else saying things that they are already thinking on their own. I don't want you to take anything I say and make it your own thoughts. Don't do that with me. All right, that's watch the news for that shit, man. You know, but you what I want to do is spark a thought, not because I think I'm right, but because I know that I'm looking at things from all perspectives. So, at any rate, uh, these people are always just they're patrons to the channel, hardcore patrons to the channel. And right now, it's good. I haven't had any money come in a couple months. I usually make enough where I can do that, which is good. But now I'm po. I'm like a 17th century piece of furniture, baroque. You know, that's where I'm at. But it's okay. It's going to come back. I just want to say thank you to them again because they're super cool. But back to like traveling for work. Last summer, uh, I can't. I don't know that I can express to you how cool of a situation this was. Again, I've done it. I've been to Georgia for work, New Jersey, New York, Kentucky, West Texas, you name it. I mean, I've driven all. I'm willing to go anywhere in the country because I've got this 4x4 Astro van. I can put a good kit in there, and I'm willing to drive someplace to do it. I will park in your driveway. I don't even have to stay in your house. Most people will do that. They'll say, "Hey, man, here's a room. Just we got an extra room. As long as I got a bathroom I can use, it's cool." And you're willing to pay my rate, which is pretty fair. I'm a cash guy, so I actually come in under what a lot of like people will charge you that aren't going to do the quality of the work that I do. And this past summer that worked out. I went up to the Monterey Peninsula, and this was Patricia and Rich. These are just I couldn't say enough good things about them. And such a cool little tiny kind of home that they live in this community where Patricia grew up there. And I slept in the van in their driveway every day. That wasn't the best just because of where their house is. Because at night there was people coming around making a bunch of noise. So I had a couple nights where I didn't get enough sleep. That kind of sucked. But you know, putting that aside, everything else, they were so kind. And this is how it usually works out. I will, you know, for this to be real, you know, you've got to cover my expenses to get to you, gas money and all that. Then I know it's real, right? So you got to send me some coin, and then I will get there. But once I'm there, it always works. And I don't expect you to do this, but it always happens. And it is a time saver. So if I'm working on your pad and you're taking care of lunch and whatnot, that's awesome because I can eat lunch right there and I'm not losing an hour every day for lunch. I can eat in 15, 20 minutes, get right back to work. I don't take breaks, you know. And but these people, they took me out to dinner every night. They were so kind. It was such a pleasant experience. We bonded. We're like pals, you know. It's not like I'm talking to them all the time now. From time to time, we communicate through social media, but it's wonderful. And I'm just blessed. It's not just that. It's not like I care only about people that are hiring me to do things. I have met so many kind people here that have nice things to say and all that. And I just again just want to start the video by thanking you for being here in the first place. It's a wonderful thing. I think I got to be a little bit cautious about it. My litmus test for taking a gig where I have to drive someplace else in the country is the fact if you're paying me to do that, to show up because I get a little nervous these days because, and I don't bring this up all the time, and it's not a woe was me thing or anything like that, but there's crazy people out there, and I get some weird notes sometimes, and people threatening me and all this kind of thing. Now I'm not afraid of anybody, but it's a little weird. So I suppose there's a slight chance somebody could be like, it could be a setup. No, sure, come on out, and then you get there and there's a couple guys that want to kick your ass or kill you or something like that could happen in this world. That can happen. So Got to be careful about that. At any rate, that's the thing. So I did that video this week, and I'm going to be in the shop starting tomorrow. The weather has broke. Last night was the first night it cooled off, and like a cool breeze came through the apartment. Oh, it was wonderful. And so I'll be back in the shop tomorrow. And my plan is to take a lot of my scrap wood and just glue up a ton of panels and then run them through the bandsaw to get them all, the right thickness, run them through the planer and everything. And then I'm going to have a stack of panels that I can use to make other things. So everything's going to be made of multiple pieces of hardwood glued together so it'll look cool. I'm going to do a bunch of tool totes. I don't know about the boards yet. I think I did. I mentioned that video for me to make cutting boards, like a run of cutting boards. If I did that, I would want to do a minimum of 10 boards, but to go out to buy that lumber, it would be $300-400 or so to buy all the different species that I need to get the boards thick enough for me to... Now, something was pointed out to me on that cutting board thing, and I realize it now, like, oh yeah, you got a point. Some people like the idea of the thinner boards, right around an inch thick, 1.25 inch thick, because you like the idea that it's light enough to maneuver around. And some people mentioned for the van life thing, and I'm like, okay, you're right. I just want to point this out because I didn't make this point in the video strong enough. I have to make it thick enough for the features that I mill into the ends of the board to work. Because I create what I call a finger well. So there's like, if you look at the board on the counter, you can reach under the edge there and get your finger on there and grip it and lift it up. But there's a 3-step process with a router bit where I create a lip too. So when you reach under there and you hook your finger, it hooks on something. It's not just a void where your finger could slip out. So you got to know how to do that, man. I've never seen that on another cutting board. And I've looked. So I do that. You know what? Let's keep talking about that. I have a piece of oak here just in case. I didn't know I was going to get into this, but I'm going to talk about it. Because real quick, I've got tons of videos on this, but just so you know the nomenclature, how to refer to the grain. This is end grain, right? Old school traditional cutting boards. A lot of guys still do this. It's a lot of work because you got to make all these little parts. What you'll do is you'll glue a bunch of these up, then you'll cut them this way, then you'll turn these over, and then you'll arrange them, and glue all that together so you have end grain up. Traditionally, that's one of the better ways to do a cutting board because they call it what they call self-healing, because when you cut into the end grain, you don't notice the cuts as much for a long time. It also happens to be the most porous end, so it does require more oil and more seasoning over time. And it's a lot of time to make those boards. This is the flat grain, right? So it might not read on camera. I'll try to move this around because the light will catch it. It might glare. But if you see a pattern, it looks like a flame or whatever, that's the flat grain. That's the worst piece to have up. So if you have a board that's made this way, that board is going to warp almost 100% of the time. This is the edge grain. This is what I use, right? So if you look at the end here, see the grain? Can you see that? So the grain's going this way, in that direction. That means this is the face grain. This is the edge grain. This is very stable. Very stable. So doors, windows, things like that. When you look at the rails and the stiles, it should always be edge grain. That's the most stable. So when I glue my boards up, it's all edge grain. Every piece is edge grain. It's not going to warp. Now, I had one board warp on me one time. It was a thinner board, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, how is that possible? And I went over to the guy's house, and the board was sitting on a granite countertop in water. The whole countertop was wet. And I told him, because I told him when I gave him the board, you never put your cutting boards in water. You never put them in the sink. You don't put them in the dishwasher. I've gone over this multiple times. He's like, well, that's what my wife does. I'm like, well, you can't do that. So I took the board home, let it dry out, remilled it, flattened it out. And I had to put feet on that board, which I've never done before, little rubber tabs, so that his wife didn't have to change her way of doing things. Because happy wife, happy life. This gets me to politics. Because there are some people out there that their wives turn them, You start off as a normal dude, and then you want to make your wife happy, and then you turn into, no, not all women. We all know already, ladies. If you're here watching this, you are not the people I'm talking about. The husband's looking at you right now. You're watching Mike Z on. So you're looking at the wife, and the wife's like, "See, I'm okay. Mike said I'm okay." And the husband's like, "Oh yeah, you're okay. You're okay." Now I'm gonna get a note from the husband later, like, "Dude, you don't know how crazy she really is. Um, you're all crazy. You're making me crazy." I just bring this up because there's a rumor right now with the Joe Kent situation, which I want to talk about. Let's dive into this. I wrote a bunch of notes down. It is funny with my notes because I have a thought, make a couple notes, then there's another thought about another topic, then there's a thought on another topic. Then I go back and I have more thoughts on the first topic, and then there's more notes on the other, and then there's more notes on the other one. So I got to be here and go, and then I go, oh, it says over, and then I got to go over here. So bear with me on that. Which one do I want to start with? We'll start with that. I don't know, man. It's a weird, fuck, man. This whole thing, it's kind of convoluted in a way, but in my mind it all kind of makes sense, but it sounds like a conspiracy theory. No, a conspiracy theory? No, not you. You seem so, yeah. Okay, look. I, I have a friend and I love him. I've known him for over 30 years. He's an old guy. He is a devotee, man, of Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and all that. And in my opinion, those people now are part of something that's going on where it seems to me their goal is to undermine Trump. Mostly it's to peel away his support. So there's a lot of weird things being said. There's a lot of crazy narratives. There's a whole drama thing unfolding. They're utilizing YouTube and social media because people are going there now for news. They're trusting that more than they're trusting networks, or especially cable news, right? Because they've been lying to us forever. All sides. I still say, and I never have the TV on with news. I'm not watching Fox News all day, all right? I watch segments from all kinds of different, including CNN and whatnot, or MSNBC, but that's just comical. It's hard to watch that because they're so obviously off the fucking rails. It's just, there's nothing real there anymore. But I watch it, and it's hard. Only when I'm interested in a specific topic. I don't want to watch the news all day long, and this is not a news channel. But I like what I'm seeing from independent type journalists that don't have the big production value going on, because those people, like the Tuckers and Candaces and everything else, as I said in that video, frustration is compelling me to put this out there. They have to keep up the drama. They know you're addicted to the drama, so that's what that's all about. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. They don't care. It does seem like on one hand, I'm almost letting them off the hook because I'm saying they just care about the drama. So if you know that, you don't have to take everything they say so seriously. But then again, the drama that they're doing, that they're presenting, is undermining things. That's a problem. So that does seem like an organized effort to stop this. And say whatever you want about Trump, but he's not part of the system, and that's why people voted for him. And he has opened up Pandora's box. He has revealed all the corruption and the fraud, all of it. Because if it wasn't for Trump, none of this stuff would be out there right now. Period. And so, the spigot from NGOs and everything has been shut off. That's been funding a lot of these people before. So because they don't have the money to support themselves, it's the left mainly, and plenty of rhinos on the right. A lot of people get into politics because they want to make money. Let's just be honest. They don't really care about people. They want money. So it's a hard thing to trust. So this is like a deep state thing. There's this thing that's been going on for a long time. People in the government, unelected people, bureaucrats, And we know the CIA does this. We know people in the FBI have done it. Robert Mueller just died. We're going to talk about that in conjunction with what I'm trying to get to here. Who have been, these people are the tools of those who are really running the show behind the scenes. And that's why all the other presidents were all puppets to a certain degree. You know, they would have like there's a term for it that I can't think of now because something just made noise behind you and it broke my concentration. A studio space would be nice one day. Then I'd be too pro and nobody would want to listen to me anymore. I'd be a friggin' hypocrite. Pet projects. So they'll allow some presidents to have these pet things they want to do, and they'll allow them to pursue that, but it's only going to be a limited success. You know, they were always being controlled before. I really believe that Trump is all about peace through commerce for the world. He wants to rid the world of all the bullshit because he watched his whole life. He's been kicked in the nuts. The media screwed him over. Government fucked him over in the past. He knows how it works. He used to give money to Democrats for years because he had to, because the right hasn't run anything on the East Coast my whole life. So he had to grease those people. So he knows how dirty they are. This thing with Iran, it's the same thing. It's like enough already. Every president since the 70s has been saying how dangerous Iran is, how they want to take them out. In the past with Iraq and everything else, with these big giant wars which fed companies like Halliburton and all the other big companies to make them all rich. I don't see how you see that here. I mean, yes, there's the companies that make the arms, but we need the arms to do what we're doing. So that's a sticky spot for me. But you need the stuff. Who are you going to go to? You know. But we're not. It's not a big thing where all these other companies seem to be getting involved. I think it's going to be good. Again, we have to. The Middle East needs 100%, absolutely, unequivocally, to become a secular area of the world. You cannot have theocracies. You can't have religion running countries or cities or towns. It'll get me to the Islam thing, right? Because Trump put something out the other. I'm sorry, I am jumping all over, but we'll cover it all. Trump put something out the other day. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a fake meme until this morning when I watched an interview with Tom Homan saying, "Yeah, we're doing it tomorrow." Putting ice in the airports to help DHS. Because Trump's thing was, he's like, look, if the Democrats don't get this under control and fund this, I'm going to put ice in there, and they're going to take care of all the illegal immigrants that they find in the airport traveling. It's gold, man. The man is pure gold. I thought it wasn't real, but it is real. I listened to Tom Homan talk about it today. Obviously, they wouldn't be monitoring the X-ray machines. They're not trained for that. But what they could do is the security, so they could be on entrances and exits and all that instead of DHS, so that those DHS people who are still going to work, even though they're not getting paid, because a lot of them have left, will then be able to monitor and do the things that they were trained for. So that's how that's going to work. And I am on the fence with this, right? So I know that security is important at the airports. I came up at a time when that didn't exist. I traveled to the East Coast with firearms. I checked a bag in with firearms in the past. No problem. You could bring a pocket knife or something with you on the plane. No problem. Used to be, even if you didn't have one, the first thing they gave you with a meal were steel utensils. And by the way, I don't need a fucking weapon to take somebody out if I want to do something. So the whole thing is a little crazy, but I get it. I should have looked it up before I started this video, but people, I know, Israel, but Israel has some of the safest airports. And I don't know how many airports they have. They might only have one. But you know why they have better security there without the long lines and everything that we do? They profile people. That's why. Now, in this country, our population has been brainwashed into thinking that profiling people is racist. Well, you can't do that. It's against. Shut the fuck up. There's certain people that you look at them and you go, yep, military age man, Muslim looking, Muslim name, whatever. That's not saying automatically that's a bad person. It's saying that's a person we should look at, because those are the types of people that do these things. It's not that guy's fault that he looks like the type of people that do those things. But if you look like that and you have that kind of name and you come from one of those areas, you should fucking expect to get targeted, period. And you shouldn't feel bad about that. You should be like, oh, yeah, I get it. This is what's going on. Okay, this is me. That's it. The little old ladies and everything else. Well, why are you fucking with those people? So if we applied common sense and stopped allowing ourselves to be manipulated with bullshit, the whole fucking country would be a lot safer. Okay? It's not a racist thing. You're not doing it. You're not saying they're bad because they're like that. You're just saying people like that look like you do these things, so we have to look at you a little bit harder. Sorry, not sorry. Get over it. That's how it is. I think that's very straightforward and simple. So, we'll stick on this one here. I think I kind of covered it, but yeah, so the Robert Mueller interview. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was an interview with Katie Pavlich, and she had an interview with Tom Homan. But back to the Robert Mueller thing. So Robert Mueller died, and we were aware of the Joe Kent situation, right? So Joe Kent resigned his position, wrote a resignation letter. He's been saying a lot of crazy shit. Keep in mind, he's saying these things. I heard him say, the last time I talked to Charlie Kirk, he told me, don't let us invade Iran. Don't let us do. How do we know that's even true? I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying he's capable of lying. When people, I posted a couple videos on my Facebook page that gave nuance to Joe Kent. And a friend of mine typed in, he's like, and he so it's just not smart to do this because I see through it. If you're going to lead with the guy's complete military record and spell that out for me as if you think I don't know that already, and you're putting that out there as your reason for believing what he's saying, fine. But just because he has this military career doesn't automatically mean he has integrity. It doesn't automatically mean he's an honest person. It doesn't mean he can't be corrupted. It doesn't mean that his wife couldn't have gotten his ear and turned him into something else, because we know that happens. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Joe Kent's lying or any of those things. I'm saying consider that. That's all. Because I posted this on my Facebook page. If you're friends with me there, you can see it. It's all public. I recently did a thing on Facebook to make my page like a professional page, so maybe it'll generate income at some point or something. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. People have recommended me do it for a while. We'll see how it goes. It might not be good for me. Maybe I'll change it back. I don't know. I'm a bit of a Luddite with this stuff. So Robert Mueller dies. I follow his Marine Corps pages. Anytime somebody who's in the Marine Corps dies, they'll post up. And it's a photo of Robert Mueller. Then it might have been a picture of him from Vietnam, but it's his war record, and he got a Silver Star with Valor and all these things. And I'm thinking, okay, let me go to the comments because I want to see what people are saying. Because I know. I mean, I don't remember every single detail of this guy, but he was the head of the FBI and under Obama and everything else. He fucked a lot of people over, and he fucked the country over. So I go to the comments, and sure enough, thank God, a lot of the Marines in there are writing that out. So I screenshotted everything, including those comments, and I posted it as a way of pointing out in this, where we're at now with the Joe Kent thing, just because somebody served, just because somebody was a Marine or in any of the branches served and served in combat and everything else. Matter of fact, look, I'm going to say something. I'm planning on saying this, but if you go into Marines, you're a psycho for the most part, especially if you want combat duty. If like you want to be a grunt, there's something wrong with you. I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm just admitting it, all right? There's a percentage of our population, worldwide population, I've said this many times here before. I would say It's always the 3%, right? It's 3% of the population is willing to put their life on the line, believe in something bigger than themselves. There's all these like benevolent attributes that we say, but we don't point out like you want to do that because you want to go kill somebody. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. You want that experience. Just own it. Just be honest about it. It's a crazy thing to say out loud, but it's the truth. So don't be surprised when somebody that wanted to go, now that was Vietnam was a draft, so a little bit different there. But these days in particular. But if you go and you, just because you served in combat and you were a badass, doesn't mean you're going to be like the most righteous, honest person if you get involved in government. Stop trying to equate those two things because it's bullshit. It's a manipulation of your brain. Patriot did all this great stuff. Yes, rah. Fucking A. Yeah, love that shit. But that doesn't mean I can trust you if you become a politician or if you get involved with government agencies. Because once you get involved in there, there's two. Do I have to keep? I don't think I have to keep talking about this. I think you know where I'm going. So many people have turned out to be lying, corrupt villains, like comic book villains. You know, I mean, it's insane. So, and they all get compromised, it seems like, right? So, it's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying, like, just think this stuff out. I'm trying to, like, turn a gear in your head so you're less likely to fall for the manipulation. That's all that's about. See if I covered my points that I wanted to make. Oh, I do want to say this, too. So, because there are guys that were under that Marine meme that they've got TDS. There was a guy, and he posted a picture of Robert Mueller in Vietnam. Badass picture of Robert Mueller. With, I think he had an M14. Yeah, his shirt might have been off or something. I don't know. He's fucking badass, man. Standing on the battle, you know. A posed picture, by the way, which we all did. I mean, I didn't get to see combat when I was in the Marines. By the way, that's another thing. I'm going to do a video, and a lot of you are going to be like, why are you addressing these people anyhow? I have to do a short video talking about my issue with the Marine Corps and my discharge and everything else, because from time to time, I get some nasty comment in here where they're not talking to me, they're talking to anybody else reading the comments, and they're trying to disparage me and tear down my character, and they're lying. They're outright lying. It happened this week where some guy wrote in there, he's like, this guy got kicked out of the Marine Corps, literally, you know, all this other stuff. Nothing he said was true. I wasn't kicked out of the Marine Corps. What the fuck, man? So I want to have one video out there where I'm literally going to have, literally, have my DD-214. I'll have most of the information blocked out that, you know, shows the discharge, you know, that sort of thing. Just locking out. This way I have a little video link every time because I erase those comments a lot of the time because it's a lie. I'm not going to let a lie stand. It's a lie. A fucking lie, especially on my page, in my comments. I'm not going to let it stand. But I'd like to leave it. I'd like to leave it where I can reply to it with a link saying, that's a lie, watch this link. Boom. So I'm going to do that. Now back to what I was saying. So this dude in the comments posted a picture of Robert Mueller in combat next to a picture of Trump with a trophy for bowling. And he's calling Trump a piece of shit and everything else. And my response, normally I don't get into that, but I was just like, look, one guy is a lying piece of shit, corrupt person who's fucked our country. I'm paraphrasing. And then the other guy is going to end up becoming, like history is going to say, is the best president we ever had because of all the stuff he's out. He's changing the political spectrum. He's changing everything. First guy ever came along who hadn't been in the military and hadn't been a politician beforehand. I did post a video on my YouTube channel the other day where I think all but three presidents, all but three, all their families can be traced back to like one area on the planet, which is basically like England, Scots, Irish area. All the maternal goes right to that same area. All our presidents, including Obama, except for three others. That's a weird coinky dink, but it's all DNA, and the guy it's a very good video, and he talks about the history of the area and the women themselves and how they raise the kids and the values and everything else and the political mindset of the people from the area. especially those Scots-Irish who came here in 1717. And it's an amazing video. I'll try to remember to put a link to it in the description box below. Pardon me. I'm just going to give myself a note so I do that. What did I say? Presidential DNA video. Pres DNA video. I'll put a link in the description below. Check that out. It's pretty interesting. Anyhow, that was my comment. Mueller, he's the guy that lied and screwed everything up and helped, all that stuff. Trump will be known as the best. And by the way, even though Trump wasn't in our military, he did do 6 years at a military academy. That's real. He was getting a lot of trouble. His parents put him there. So, okay. Well, he comes back with this bullshit. And then I said, I'm sorry. He posted his thing with the pictures, and I said, President's going to go down as the best president in history. Your TDS is showing, seek help. And then, he came back at me. But it was like, every time he came back at me, he just revealed more of his TDS. And all I did was point out to him, dude, that comment demonstrates your TDS again. And, well, you could say TDS, but I'd rather be on the side of, Senator Kelly. And he listed all these other people that we know have TDS. It's like, and he's like, you're a part of a cult. I'd rather be on the side of these guys. I'm like, dude, you just revealed the cult you're a part of. That is all TDS. It finally ended. Normally, my favorite thing to do is let it lie and let him have the last word because, you married guys know. All you that are married here, watching this right now, know. Just let the woman have the last word. Just let her have the last word. If you don't, it's never going to fucking end, man. It's never going to fucking end. Just let her have the last fucking word. So let the women have the last word. Even if they look like men. I did go to his page. Straight up narcissist. I mean, it's all him. Smoking cigars, bald head, like well-to-do. Looks like he's got some money. Somebody called him a mayor. So he might be a mayor of some town someplace, which scares the fuck out of me. At any rate, that's that story. Let's move on. The Nick Shirley is here. Nick Shirley, he's here, and he's looking at two different things. Again, he looked at the child care thing, which, believe it or not, even in California, a lot of Somalis are here running daycare centers. But then he also went out after hospices, and that's an amazing thing. And the bummer for me was that a lot of the people doing the hospice thing are Armenians, of all people. Now, you guys might know. Well, my experience personally with Armenians is positive, like overwhelmingly positive. I love Armenians, but you know why? I'll tell you why. Very simple, straightforward, simple thing. Because Armenians love me. They fucking love me, man. It's the craziest thing. Armenian women, just so you know, if Armenian woman likes you, wants you, you pretty much don't have a say in it. Those are some strong bitches, man. They're coming. If they like you, like, like they see what they want. There's some aggressive. I fucking love it. They will let you know, and they are loyal. Yeah, Armenian women or something. But I hang out at a watch shop. You guys know I got this watch hobby thing, and I'm a nerd with it now. And walked into the watch shop when I first got into it, and it's a father-son routine, Armenians, and they're so cool. They're so cool. And Mike and Vartan over at Majestic WJ on Larchmont Boulevard. And Mike has been, in the past, because he would do the certifications for decades. I don't think he does them anymore because he doesn't need to, because he has a reputation. He's a watchmaker. He's the friggin' man. And he works on all the high-end watches. There's always Rolexes being worked on. He's got a couple there right now that were water damaged. So he breaks down the movements and soaks those parts. And I mean, he can rebuild a watch. It's amazing. And within a few times of going there, they started asking me just to go hang out. Like they open the counter, I sit behind the counter with them, and we laugh and tell stories, and it's awesome. I love these guys. So when Nick Shirley discovered that it's Armenians for the large part running that, I went over there, not because of that. It was all happening at the same time. And I was like, they saw the videos. Like, I know, we saw it. It's not us. It's not the Armenians that have been here for decades, that are Americans, that become American citizens, that have children born here, that are hardworking, that start businesses, that do things and make money legitimately. It's the newer ones that come over, and a lot of them, they're telling me, are tied in with the Russian mob. So there's like Armenian Russian mob stuff going on. Stuff like that's always been going on. I don't even really knock that all the time. I grew up around it, right? You guys heard my stories with my dad. It wasn't Armenian Russian. It was the Italian other thing going on back in the day. So they're not happy about it either. But they're like, fuck those guys. They want them to get caught because it makes, in their mind, it makes all Armenians look bad. That's how it is, which is nice that they feel that way because you don't get that with Islam. You know what I'm saying? there's Islamists that want to cut your head off, and then the rest of the Islamists want those Islamists to cut your head off. Like, look, Islam is not compatible with Western culture, period. Show me a country that has taken in a bunch of Islamists and it made the country better. I'll wait. I want you to think about that. You tell me a country that is better off because they let that happen. What good has it brought them? The United States of America is a pretty free place, and we have freedom of religion. Not freedom from religion, freedom of religion. We allow people to practice their religion here. However, we're a constitutional republic with laws, and you were supposed to come in through a process to become a naturalized citizen. And to do that, you had to read up and take a test and everything else because the goal was for all foreign nationals who come here that want to become Americans to assimilate into American culture. That's how it was set up. The last administration, which gets me to Katie Pavlich, because the immigration stuff is going to come up here. The last administration let, depending on who you believe and what the numbers are, up to 20 million people into this country that were not vetted, that did not go through any kind of process, that are here illegally. Every one of them has broken the law. And a lot of them manipulated the system, the asylum idea and that sort of thing. And we don't know who they are. It's a problem. But a lot of people were also brought here from Islamic countries. And here's the thing about Islam. Look, I'm not saying all Islamic people are bad. It sounds like I am. I'm not trying to say that. But a huge percentage of them are. And a small percentage of them in a group of other Islamists is going to do a thing. So when they're the minority, they scream for equal rights and all these things. But when they become the majority, no one else matters. They just rule over you, and then they force you to accept their way. It's a fucking cancer, and we see it time and time and time again. So that should never be allowed to happen. We shouldn't have. You can have somebody that's a Muslim, and an not Islamist, but a Muslim in political office. But if they are supporting Sharia law, if they're supporting Islamism to that degree, then they should not be in American politics, because that's antithetical to the way America is. And so, like, if you were born and raised in the U.S. and then all of a sudden there's this community, and it all becomes all Islamic, and they put up mosques and everything, and there's prayer towers, and you can't walk down your street in the United States of America without hearing this prayer thing go off. That's bullshit. Christians ain't doing that. Nobody else is doing that. That shouldn't be allowed to happen. That's annoying for everybody else that doesn't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we're saying you can't practice your religion. We're saying your religion can't override ours or our way of life. Very simple. It's not about being mean. It's just about common sense. You left a country. Why did you come here? Why are you coming here if you want to turn this into what you left. If that's your thing, if you want to turn this into where you left from, then you're revealing the reality to the rest of us that you don't care about America. You don't want America. You don't want to be in America because America is what it is. You want to come to America to change America. Fuck you and the camel you rode in on. Get the fuck out. That's where we're going now. That's what's going to start happening because this is bullshit. And it's not about being mean. It's about saying to you, you come here, understand what America is. All religions are allowed to practice here. We all need to get along. Because if you want us to have to accept your bullshit, you're creating a friction there. Why are you coming here creating that friction? I'm just trying to be honest. I'm not trying to be mean. Israel has Muslims in it. Well, that brings me to the Temple Mount. But, if you guys understand Revelation and all that, not that I'm a Bible scholar, I am clearly not, but they say that Temple Mount, because now you got the dome there, because Islam came in and built that there. It's so fucked up what's going on over there. Just remember, the Jews were there for thousands of years before Islam ever existed. Just so you understand. But that has to get blown up so that they could build a new temple, and then it's supposed to be the end of everything or whatever. I don't think that's true. I think what's going to happen is, I had a dream last night. I have these vivid dreams, and I've had a lot of premonition dreams over the years. I dream things and then they happen. In my personal life, mainly. I've dreamt I've been places and seen things I haven't seen before, and then it happens in my life. I travel to some place, I'm like, holy shit, I had that dream 6 months ago. I can go on and on. There's tons of things that have happened. And I was having these recurring dreams a couple of years ago with the UFOs in the sky, which we're seeing now a lot. The dreams I had were very vivid, where we were outside a couple times during the daytime, other times at night, and there were discs, up. We could see the bottoms. Bottoms were very colorful and lit up, and everybody was kind of outside looking, and there was this anxiety, but it wasn't necessarily horrible. I wasn't getting the feeling of like an overwhelming doom from it. And then last night, I had this dream where I was seeing what looked like cinders shooting through the atmosphere, coming down. And this has happened to the planet before, and we're in a time cycle right now based on historical things that are being found. If you look at Göbekli Tepe with the animal reliefs, some people decipher that as constellations and the way the sky looks, as a warning to that. We know that there was a cataclysmic event that hit the planet, created the Younger Dryas event, which killed off the ancient civilizations that were here with all these high degrees of technology, and we're finding all that stuff. And they were warning us. Well, our sky right now is that, and that was just over 12,000 years ago, and we're in this cycle. So it's like 12 to 13,000 years, 24 to 30,000 years. And so there's a repeating cycle when this happens. We come into something. As the Earth is moving around, we hit this thing again, over and over and over again, and it wreaks havoc on the planet each time it happens. And that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen in our lifetime. So I think it's interesting. I think the Bible's saying, hey, these things are going to happen. You're going to see these things. But what's going to happen later is not because these things happen. They're just saying, keep an eye out. As you see these things happen, look out, because these things are going to happen. When they talk about the Messiah returning, I think it's the beings that created us that are going to come. And this is just my own thing. You could think I'm crazy and off the wall and everything else. It's just what my brain is telling me, is that these crafts are going to come and they're going to offer us an escape to save us. It was turned into religion, right? Because it's back then, it's a way to get the thing across. And religion has turned it into religion. But maybe it's not religion. Maybe it's just a matter of fact. That's what's going to happen. I'm not saying absolutely I'm right about this. I'm saying that's what goes on in my brain. So whatever, take it for however you want. I think you'll have a choice, by the way, whether or not you want to go. And I think I would likely choose to stay, which could kill me or something. But I figure with the way my brain works, the skills I have, the things I own, and everything else, I think I could be a help to other people that survive, if you survive. And it doesn't matter if I'm wrong because there's no such thing as death anyhow. You go back to where you come from or on to the next thing. That's my belief. You guys know I died. I had that experience and I had this whole conversation and I know what I am. I know what you are. We are all like pure balls of light. That's our soul. It's our energy. It never dies. We're just currently inhabiting this vessel and we're sharing this experience on the planet right now. That's how I see it. By the way, having that belief also allows me to live freely 100% and not give a shit. Like as far as like saying the wrong thing or dying, you're not going to truly live this existence if you live it in fear of death. All right, let's see, where am I? Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. I hope that's okay with you guys. Right, back to the DHS thing at the airports and immigration, all that. There was some debate with Katie Pavlich. She had this guy on, Harry Sisman, whatever the hell. He's like in his 20s, and he's a Democratic mouthpiece, and he's so funny because he's smug, and he's lawyerly, right? So his whole argument is semantics. It's not about the point. It's about being right based on the ability to use the words that come out of other people's mouths against them. That's what his tactic is. So that's what he did. So they were saying it was a policy, the Biden policy, open borders. Like, what policy? There's no policy. There was no law passed to let it. And so because he keeps saying that, it makes him right to a degree, but he is denying the reality that we call it open border policy. He's saying policy as a definition means something was voted on and was a law or whatever. Right. No, nobody's saying that happened. We're using the word policy in a different way. It's so crazy when you talk to these assholes and they do that. Like, did you know what I mean? It's like the grammar Nazis on social media and you type something wrong. Or let's say I'm speaking and I use a word in the wrong context, but if you look at the entire context of what I'm saying or what I've written, you should get the gist of what I'm saying anyhow. But then you asshole, you decide to pick a word or something I said to point it out to me like, oh, that's not how it's spelled, or that's, you used the wrong. Did you know what I meant? If you knew what I meant, shut the fuck up. Shut up. I am not professional. When I go, I'm so pro, I'm being sarcastic, like I am not professional at all. Doesn't matter. Like the gist of what I'm saying, the points I'm trying to make, if you get them, that's what's important, not how I'm doing it. If you're so hung up on that, you're the one with the problem. That's why Obama was a problem. That's why all these presidents that came along, they put up a thing. It was phony. You're addicted to phony. You think that the phony is what it's supposed to be because people keep telling you that's what it is, and that's bullshit. It's not about the phony. It's about the genuineness of somebody, about the open honesty. The guy without the governor, right, on what he's saying. He just blurts it out. Oh, it's not presidential. You don't know what the fuck presidential is because you've been convinced over the last 50, 60 years to think that. It's the same thing with Christ, right? I think Jesus was a fucking badass, man. But I don't think Jesus was walking around with a visible halo and a glow and angels singing over his shoulder everywhere he went like they depict him. I think he was walking around, he was in a human form, and he had BO, and he ate food and shit and pissed and fucked and did all these things just like every other human being. And in the book it says he was hanging out with his bros, turning water into wine, and hanging out with whores. Jesus was a fucking party animal, man. That's how I see it. I think he was a righteous motherfucker that was like, yeah, you know, and I think he probably smoked pot, and I think he was a surfer. And I just, as Jesus, these Romans are a bunch of assholes, you know, and, you know, turning over the money tables and going after the corrupt Jews. And he was a Jew himself and all this shit. And it wasn't the Jews that killed Jesus. I think they turned him in. It was the Romans that killed him. It's just, I'm sorry, man, but the whole thing, it kills me. I understand the clothes make the man. If I, you know, did something about my hair, maybe, I don't know, got coiffed, wore a jacket and a tie, sat behind a desk, had some production value. I mean, maybe people would want to like listen to me more. I don't want to do that because it's phony and it's not me. So it'll never happen. Well, I can't say never. If somebody threw a bunch of fucking money at me, I suppose it could happen. At least the way I look. How I sound, I couldn't do it. Can't change who I am. I'm going to always be who I am. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. I got my Popeye spinach tattoo and the anchor right there. I hate bullies, man. So, yeah, this Sisson character, it really aggravates me because when I see that happening, if I had been in that discussion, I would say, hey, everybody shut up. Dude, what you're doing right there with the word, you know what I mean. Stop playing your games. And I refer to him as son. Son, listen to me. Because the young, smug people that play that fucking game, I just want to punch them in the face. It's so annoying. Because they do that because they didn't get smacked in the face when they were growing up. They're like bitches. No offense, ladies. Sorry, but you know how I feel about this. I'll make this point again. Again, ladies, if you're here watching, I know you're awesome. Who loves you, baby? You're cool if you could take this shit coming out of my mouth. You're cool. But a lot of women grow up and they're spoiled. They went through the princess routine with their dad or whatever, given everything all the time. They had no repercussions. What's the word? They were never corrected when they did the wrong thing. I always use my own life as an example. When I was young, if I said the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time in the wrong place, bam, I got punched in the mouth, or the threat of it. Somebody got in my face about it, and I realized, oh, okay. And that's what most men, when they were boys, go through. And that's why as we get older, we learn to bite our fucking lip. Okay, let's, unless it's appropriate, that's what it is. Because we know we can get hit in the mouth. And by the way, as a kid boxing with my uncle, who's a Golden Gloves boxer, and I'm 11 years old, he's coming over the house, putting gloves on me, getting on his knees, and punching me in the face as a man. I'll tell you what, a couple good shots to the nose, everybody needs that. Just so you know what it feels like. So when you get into a real fight on the street and you get punched in the face, it doesn't affect you because you're ready for, you know what that feeling is. Bam. Oh yeah, okay. Girls don't get that. Generally speaking, they don't get that. So some of them can grow up throughout life saying the most horrible things to people because nobody's ever cracked them one. That's all I'm saying. I'm just making a point. These days, we have young people who grew up in a world where they didn't have to learn how to deal with bullies. They didn't get punched in the face. They didn't have to learn to defend themselves. So they grow up and they're these young adults that are insufferable and smug and all that, and you just want to punch them in the face. Mark Zuckerberg was one of these people until what? What did Mark Zuckerberg start doing? What did he start doing? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He started hanging out with men doing man shit, and all of a sudden, he's 180-degree spin on his brain. Yeah. Because we used to call that knocking sense into you. Get your brain rattled a couple times. It's like the Vostok watch, right? I watched a video. I wasn't going to talk about this. I watched a video last night, and the guy was knocking the. He's got the Steve Zissou version, right? Like, this thing doesn't run, and you got to do all this stuff, and he's talking all this shit about it. And then I made a comment. I was like, well, I got 2 of them, and they work. But then I remembered when I bought this watch and I unboxed it, it was a piece of shit. What had happened was I guess it had plastic on it at one time, and it got into the bezel and it had stained the crystal, and I took it out of the box. The bezel didn't turn. I'm looking at the stain, and then it wouldn't run. And I was like, this is garbage. And then I thought about it, and I popped the bezel off. I went over to Mike. Mike polished the crystal in like 35 seconds. Looked like brand new. I popped the bezel off. There was plastic in there. I cleaned that out. Now it works perfect. The problem with it running is you have to hit it a couple times, but the main thing is hit it and get that rotor to spin and keep doing that. And then wear it. Once you wear it for a few days and it's the mechanism, because you don't know how long this thing's been sitting in a box. That thing's made in fucking, this came out of Ukraine. So I don't know if it's made in Ukraine or in Russia. It's a Russian watch. I don't know if there are factories in Ukraine or not. I don't fucking know. But the point is, it's made. They put lube in there. And who knows what kind of lube they're using. You guys know how lube is. What's your favorite lube? I'm partial to coconut oil these days because it's edible, you know. So you get the thing, it's not running, but you got to wear it. You got to get it going. You got to get the thing going. And once you do that, these things are friggin' awesome. So that's the point. You got to knock some sense into it sometimes. Every once in a while, you got to give something a crack. Whether it's your kids or your wife, you know. Ladies, the good ones that have a husband that's a pain in the ass, he might need a crack too. Let's just be honest. We got to stop this thing of like the non-violent. First of all, that's not violence, right? That's it's a little bit of aggression that you need to use once in a while on another human being. I'm sorry. You could say I'm wrong. I'm sure some of you are, but I just think I might say I'm not condoning beating your kids or beating your wife. Just, you know, a little once in a while. Ladies, you got to do that to your husband if he deserves it. I'm just saying. Sometimes, hopefully you never have to do that. I'm just having fun with you. But there are times in life where sometimes that has to happen, you know. I think I told this story. There's 3 occasions that I can remember where I've had to be physical with a woman. I'm not proud of any of them. But it was the right thing to do each time. I didn't hit anybody. I never punched a woman. Because I knocked their friggin' block off. You can't do that. As a man, you can't do that. But you can defend yourself. I'll tell you what they are. I wasn't going to do this. But the one time was with my sister, who my father had multiple heart attacks. He really weren't supposed to stress him out, and she did. And she was involved. She's not with us anymore. She's passed on. But she got involved with a guy. They stole a car. They did a bunch of stuff. And then she was lying about it. And we know she was lying about it. And when she kind of got caught in it, she spun everything. Well, what are you saying? And like she just did this instant thing. She was known for this. And I couldn't take it. And I got up. Now, this is my own sister, so it's a little bit different. You know, you can get physical with your siblings. I didn't punch her. But I grabbed her by the throat with one hand and lifted her up off the floor and slammed her into the wall and looked right in her eyes. Was like, why are you doing this? Why are you getting him riled? Are you trying to kill our father? Like, what's wrong with you? And it, you know, of course, I was way more intense than I am with you right now. And that scared the shit out of her. She didn't come home for 3 days. I wasn't living there at the time. I was a man. She was living with him. I was there visiting. The next time that happened was, actually it was probably before that. It was when I was in high school. I lived alone in high school. I guess we're going to go over an hour. I'll tell you these stories and I'll let you go. And it's a long story. I was living alone. And every winter I had a different beach shack. And then in the summers I lived in a boarding house, paid my own way working on the boardwalk. And I lived in Seaside Park, New Jersey. So I worked on the boardwalk there. And let's just say I had a lot of fun in high school. I was living totally free. No oversight, you know, no adult supervision whatsoever. All the parties were at my house. A lot of them were. And, it was a lot of, it was, before AIDS and everything. And, we were all just, all of us were having sex. I didn't realize I was probably having 10, 20 times more sex than everybody else. I thought all the guys was doing what I was doing. One night, a couple guys showed up with 3 girls they just met and a case of beer. Out of the blue, school night. One guy automatically went in my room with one of the girls. They get naked and start having sex. The other guy is off on the sofa with a girl. They're around a corner. I can't see them. And I'm at the dining room table with this girl that drove the other 2 girls. And she and I are getting along great. And I hear a slap, and then I hear another slap from the sofa. They had gotten some kind of argument. He must have gotten a little fresh. She didn't like it. She slapped him. He slapped her back. She gets up and is hysterical. This is the thing. So women, sometimes you get hysterical. Some of you, not all of you, those of you watching this who are married, sit next to your husbands, aren't the type. Because if you were the type, you wouldn't have that husband. You wouldn't be sitting next to you watching this. You'd be single on your 3rd marriage, 3 different kids from 3 different fathers with maybe a bunch of cats or something, living on food stamps. These are these people. This is what happens to them. hysterics. So she was hysterical in the apartment and like scream, I want to go right now. But her one girlfriend's getting boned. That ain't stopping. And the girl who drove the car is like, I'm having a good time. And I guess they're friends. So she knows she's hysterical. That's how she is. She doesn't say that to me, but the way she was dealing with it, that's what I picked up on. So she goes outside because she wants to leave. And she's ranting and raving and screaming in front of my house. Well, hey, I live alone. And I've already had enough trouble with the cops in my town at parties and everything else. And the chief of police was friends with my dad, but we had a couple cops that didn't like me, and they would bust people and give tickets and all that. They might come to the house and kick everybody out. That had happened. And also my neighbors. I don't want my neighbors to be like, oh, fuck, to call the cops, because that would happen from time to time when the cops would show up. So I'm trying to avoid that. So I go out there and I'm at first, I'm being very kind to her. Like, hey, calm down. I got neighbors. Fuck you, don't tell me what to do. I want to go right now. I'm like, hey. Then I got pissed. I go, this is Jersey. I'm Jersey. I'm in Jersey. I'm from Jersey, in Jersey at the time. And I'm not, mature enough. I'm a fucking kid myself. I'm like, hey, shut the fuck up. She attacks me physically, trying to scratch my face and everything. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what the fuck is... And she wasn't a tiny little. She was a big bitch, right? So she's like, whoa, 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 scratching. I'm like, whoa, fucking deflecting shit. And I push her away from me. She's screaming again. She attacks me again. Boom, boom, boom. I push her away. I'm like, you got to just calm down and shut up. Third time she comes at me. Heel of the hand. One shot was all it was in the forehead. I didn't want to really hurt her. Bam! One right in the forehead. It's the funniest thing ever. She fucking needed it. It knocked sense into her automatically because it shut her to it knocked her off her feet. She landed on her ass in the middle of the street. She looked at me like, couldn't believe it happened. Couldn't believe it happened. What do you expect to happen? But you can't do that. You can't physically attack somebody 3 times. A man is letting you off 3 times and then come back again. What do you think is going to happen? Every man has the right to defend himself in that situation. Again, I didn't beat her. I didn't strangle her. I didn't punch her with a closed fist. Didn't draw any blood. Nothing. So this is a good lesson for you guys. Open hand to the forehead. It works every time. Bam! And I laughed because it was funny. She gets up, gets in the car. I chased her around the car because to me, it was just, at that point, it was like a Three Stooges routine. I just thought it was funny because the look on her face when she hit the ground and her eyes got big and she looked up at me, that look on her is never going away. It's like when I had the Bigfoot experience. That shit's burned into my brain. It's the same experience. That look was so funny. She was in complete shock that somebody actually did that to her. I suspect she never pulled that shit with anybody ever again. That's what I suspect. If she ever got married, and if you're watching this and that was you, and you're happily married with a good husband and everything else, your husband should call me and thank me for that. The other time was I had dated. I'm kind of a romantic. I know it's hard to believe. But if I meet somebody and we get it on and we have sleeping together, like a lot of the time, I would try to make that into something instead of just realizing it for what it was. It was just fucking. And there was a girl like that I knew. She was from my hometown. And she was the cute. She's what I kind of like with cutie. I like curly hair. She was tiny and compact, incredible figure, super cute. Pixie kind of vibe. She worked at a local store at the register. I think she was a couple of years older than me. As I would go into the store to buy stuff. It's a hardware store in town. It's not there anymore. And she didn't realize I was going in there just to talk to her. And I just thought she was so pretty. But I never hit on her. I probably hit on her. But she didn't take any of that shit seriously. She was cute, man. She was getting that shit all day from every fucking man that walked in there. And I was not a man at the time. Well, fast forward, years go by. And I'm the DJ at JJ Rockers. JJ Rockers Seaside's only rock and roll nightclub. That was a good gig, man. That was a good gig. I bartended. I started off working the door, became a bartender, became the DJ. And then I went over to Mr. Hips after that, became Club XS, attached to the Yakety Yak. You guys might remember. My name would be up in lights, I was working with, you guys remember Smitty? in the 1980s. Smitty was on MTV a lot. He used to do the curly shuffle. So he kind of did like a curly routine from the Three Stooges. He did some pretty graphic, raunchy stuff with a Barbie doll on stage. Well, Smitty was a known kind of celebrity in the area, and he got hooked up with the owners of my club, and he would come in and host bands and shows and stuff. So when I became a DJ, that's how we met. Crazy thing, Smitty had been a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and Smitty gave me my DJ name, which was Mr. Mike. Yeah, I was working one night. It's the first night I'm working with Smitty, and I think he saw the Marine Corps tattoo. He pointed out the fact that he'd been in the Marine, so we bonded instantly. And he was so cool. Who he was as a normal person isn't the guy he was when he was doing his curly shuffle shit, obviously. And he was paying attention to how I was dealing with people coming up to the DJ booth. Because if you don't just tell me what to do. People be like, hey, play this. I'll be like, what? How about please? You know, and then people would tip me. So it was a great gig. I get paid, plus people would tip me to hear the song that they wanted to hear because they wanted it for their girlfriend. Or girls would, even the women, girls would come up, oh, play me a song, right? Or play me this. Be like, what are you going to do for me? I saw so many titties DJing. It was awesome. It was a great job. Guys sometimes would want to buy the CD. Be like, I can't sell you the CD, dude. I need it for my job. Here's $50. Here's $100. Just to impress their girlfriend to get the CD to take it home. That happened. That didn't happen every night, but it happened enough. And it happened. It was awesome when it did. I go to the store the next day, buy the CD again, and I have a bunch of extra money left over. It was a good gig. But Smitty saw how I dealt with people, and he got on the mic. This is like a few hours into the first night we ever worked together. He gets on the mic and he goes, hey, you don't come up here and tell this guy what to do. You do not demand that Mr. Mike play a song for you. And that's became my, so you would go to the clubs at night on the boulevard. If I was DJing at either of these clubs, it would be tonight's DJ, Mr. Mike. And that was pretty cool. There's a picture out there. I think it's on my Facebook page. Maybe I'll share that later for you guys to see on the page if you're a follower of the page. Anyhow, Jesus, sorry. I went off there. But I'm reminiscing. That was a good time in my life. Those were fun days. This girl, right? The chick that worked at the hardware store. It's Halloween. I'm working at JJ Rockers, Seaside's only rock and roll nightclub. And I see her on the dance floor, and I know it's her, and she's Catwoman. Yeah, the whole outfit, man. Skin tight, black outfit, high heels. I'm drooling right now. Just the memory of it, man, with the curly hair. Now, I'm bad. I don't remember her name, but that's apropos. Pay attention to the rest of the story. I don't remember her name now, but I knew it then, and I called her out. She was in the middle of the dance floor. I'm like, is that so? I'm on the mic. I don't give a f. I had power. When you work on the boardwalk dealing with perfect strangers, you have this power. I said crazy things to people. I was making people laugh their asses off when I was 15 years old. On the boardwalk. Perfect. I'd have people around spending money just to listen to me crack jokes and goof on people and have fun with them. And it was, that's where this comes from, man. That's where this comes from. And I was that same guy in the booth, which was good because as a DJ, you've got to do certain things. Hey, don't forget to tip your bartenders. And hey, Thursday night, whatever. John Eddie's going to be here. Don't forget to come. Bring your girlfriend, bring your friends, buy tickets at the door. All these things, I was good. I was comfortable on the mic speaking. So anything that needed to go, boom, I could just insert it. There was a time I wanted to be a radio disc jockey. I think I would have been good at that. At any rate, I called her out on the dance floor. And she looks up and she knows who I am. And she, obviously that was like a shot to her, like a positive, like affirmation. I mean, she needs that. How women, isn't it funny how on Halloween they all get turned into sluts? All the slutty, like, it's the one time of the year I could just dress like a whore. Thank you for that, ladies. Never stop. Never stop doing that. It's the one day of the year the rest of the men are like, oh, great. They're all going to look like whores. It's terrific. I don't go out on Halloween because horrible things have happened to me on Halloween. I could do a whole video just talking about that. Let's get back to this bitch. So we start hanging. And here's the crazy thing about this chick. She was a drunk. I didn't know it. She could not. She was tiny, that's why. And when she went out and had fun, she had too much fun. And she'd have too many drinks. And she was fun. But it was too... So we started getting it on. And I go to her place. Most of the time I was at her place for some reason. But here's the fucked up thing. This is really bad. This is why it didn't last very long. And this happened every single time we had sex. She would call me by some other dude's name. That's why I don't mind not remembering her name. You know what I'm saying? That might be like this psychological thing with me where I've done that on purpose because that bitch would call me some other dude's name every time we fucked. And then I'm telling you, it's crazy. Every time after we fucked, she would start a fight with me. Every single time. So I never spent the night. I'd leave. Man, I'm having this epiphany right now. And you're saying to yourself, why did you do it with her at all? Because she was fucking hot, man. Physically, everything about her, it was hot. It turned me on. Who she was fucking horrible. So I ended up walking away from it. Okay. We're done. 6 months or so goes by. I'm DJing at Club XS. It was a balcony DJ booth, so I'd look over the dance floor. And it was a big dance floor. You could have a couple thousand people in that club at a time. I think that club held it might have held 2,500 people. So the floor could be packed. I could get into the mob stuff here, and the guy who ran that, and the drugs going on, the people that walked in and never walked out, and the money laundering shit, and everything else. We're not going to talk about that tonight. But I'm working there. I got a song playing. I turn around and she's standing there and she's loaded. She's so cute. She's so cute, but she's a tiny little thing. And she's got her hands on her hips and she's got her head goes like this. She goes, I got a bone to pick with you. And I'm like, a bone to pick with me? I haven't talked to you in 6 months. What are you saying about us? There is no us. There hasn't been an us for 6 months. Look, this is not the time or the place. I'm working. Well, I grabbed her by her hips. I picked her up. I walked her out. There's a door, right? You open a door to the DJ booth, and it's this little balcony. I got a light board. It was weird, too, that night, because usually I had a light guy with me. But that night I was doing the lights and the music. If I'm in the booth and I open the door, you open it up, and there's a landing there, and there's stairs that go downstairs, and there's another flight of stairs that go up. So there's a landing here. So I pick her up by the hips. I take her out the door. I put her down. She reaches out with both hands and starts digging her fingers. She digs her fingers into my throat and neck, and she's strangling me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? So I grab her by the wrist, and obviously it's easy for me. I just break the hold. I pin her hands. I hold her up to the wall. I'm like, hey, crazy bitch, what is wrong with you? Are you just mad at me because I don't want to go out with you anymore? I put her down. Now, as I put her down, I also notice there's two people coming up the stairs. Thank God, because they see this whole thing. I put her down. I turn my head to walk away, and she hauls off with, everything she's got. Now, she was fit. She was tiny. When I say I liked her, she was fucking perfect. Physically. Just fucking perfect. Crazy as a fucking tick, but physically, amazingly perfect. That's why guys will put up with a little bit of shit. They'll put up with some crazy if everything else is working for them. I'm not putting up with that shit. I got to walk away with everything she's got. And she hit me hard, right in the ear. Like the worst place, man. Bam, right in the ear. And bam, it hits me. And I see these people as my eyes roll back. I see them, because in my mind, if those people hadn't been coming up the stairs, I don't know. I don't think I would have really tried to hurt her very badly, but I might have given her a backhand, because that's what was going on in my brain. What? And these people come out, and I see them, so I just look at her, and I don't do anything. I go back in the DJ booth, I close and lock the door, put the music on just in time, and that's it. 2 days later, or the next day, I've got another girl over the apartment, because, that's how it was. And there's a knock on the door, and it's the police. She has pressed charges against me for assault. I didn't hit her. I didn't hurt. All I did was defend myself, break her. I still have scratches and bruises on my neck from what she did to me. And John, if he's watching this, he hasn't been watching my videos, he said lately. My buddy John Bouchel, who owns Betty Nick's Bait and Tackle in Seaside Park, New Jersey. It's an excellent restaurant there. The food is amazing. And if you are a fisherman, Betty Nick's is the best bait and tackle shop, maybe on the whole East Coast, but for sure at the Jersey Shore. And he's a knowledgeable guy. You get what you need there. And it's a family-owned business for like 50 years now or more. Awesome dude. Solid character. I call him up because I know he had he would help me, and he took pictures of my neck and everything. You had to show up to court, and when I showed up to court, she didn't show up, so it got thrown out, and it was a nothing. And nothing happened from that. So those are the 3 times I've ever had a physical confrontation with a woman, and every time, other than my sister, that was more like she just needed that shit. But the other 2, I was just defending myself, you know. So men, don't go around hitting women. You shouldn't hit women. However, you have to defend yourself. What the fuck, man? So ladies, it's a cautionary tale for you. If you're the type to get hysterical, you better expect somebody to crack you one every once in a while. And if you're a parent, please stop raising your kids not knowing what I'm not telling you to beat your kids, but somehow you have to instill in them to not be an asshole because, you know, the rest of us have to deal with them. You know what goes through my brain when I run across a young person who's an asshole? I want to smack their parent. That's what I want to do. I think that your parent fucked up. And your parent is... I want to smack the parent in front of the kid. That's what I want to do. I'll leave you with that happy thought. You guys have a great day. I hope you guys got a kick out of this. I'll catch you in the next one. Hey, by the way, don't forget to be nice to one another. It's very important. Be kind to one another.